Hello, everyone. We are back with another episode. And today I am delighted and excited to introduce you to my friend, Junia Chou. She has a doctorate degree in natural medicine and is an advanced energy medicine practitioner and teacher. She's a Touch for Health instructor, massage therapist, hypnotherapist, and the list goes on and on and on. I will write more about her in the bio. Currently, she runs her integrative practice in a private clinic in California, USA. So welcome, Junia. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having this channel.
Thank you. Junia, I wanted to ask you a question. So what are the areas of your work that can help seniors?
Yeah, I believe, so when I started, I actually started in senior centers and senior homes, and I helped little children as well. So that was how my path started when I started teaching workshops. So a lot of the techniques we're going to be sharing today is very simple and yet very effective to help with better sleep, to help you feel safer, to help you acclimate better to changes in your life. So I'm excited to share those 3 techniques today.
Yeah, those are very, very important in everyone's life, including seniors. What is natural and energy healing?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I was just talking to Minaz about this, and I think if you ask every energy practitioner, they might give you a different definition. So I'll share a little bit about what I think is natural and energy healing. So I believe that everything is energy. Every thought you have, every word you speak, every food you eat, all of it is energy. Every single cell in your body has energy. And there's a saying in Chinese called 不通则痛, 通则不痛, meaning if you have stagnation, if something is stuck, that's where disease occurs because there's no ease of flow anymore. And if you have flow, if everything is flowing, that's where you have health. And that's where you can feel good and vitality. So that's what I sort of turn to when I think about energy healing, to help things flow again, so nothing is stuck. And it's interesting that people use the word healing, because the old meaning of the word to heal actually means to make whole again. To make whole again. So when you're undergoing energy healing, natural healing, it's about bringing you back to your wholeness. So not disintegrated or disconnected like a lot of people in the modern, day culture might be. And natural, I think, speaks for itself. Natural medicine is just natural ways to, you have an inner healer. It's how to awaken that natural inner healer within you. And it can be very empowering.
Wow. Yeah, that's very simple and very profound explanation of healing, right? Makes you whole. Yeah, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Yes. Can a senior citizen learn and heal himself or herself?
For sure. I've worked with 4-year-olds to 85-year-olds. What's so great about the techniques we're going to be sharing today is you can do it for yourself. DIY, do it for yourself as self-care. You can do it for somebody else. So yes, for sure, you can definitely do this to help yourself and to help other people.
So you're saying these are simple enough techniques so that they can do it themselves?
We have a lot of different techniques. I chose 3 today that I feel would be easy and simple to do. And if we have future affinity together, maybe I can share some more. But today, these 3 are very simple, yet they're very potent techniques.
So that was my next question to you, Junia. If you could demonstrate some techniques that we can all use for our wellness.
Yes, let's get into it. Okay, so there's 3 techniques I want to demonstrate today. The first one is called the figure eight. The figure eight. It's an infinity sign. And the second one is that it's rooted in Tibetan energy medicine. The second one is called shock point therapy. So I'm going to show you there's a point on your body that releases shock and releases trauma. There's been a lot of shock and trauma in the world nowadays. So helping your body not hold on to it so it can begin to heal and let the healing, occur. The third one is going to be the fear tapping. If there's a lot of change in our life and we're feeling overwhelmed or we can't stand it, we can have a lot of fear. There can be a lot of fear of danger, of crises. So I really wanted to introduce a technique to start to alleviate the fear and the fight, flight, freeze response. So let's just jump in. The first technique is the figure eight technique. It is one of my absolute favorites. You could put it in your back pocket and use it anywhere. So let me first talk a little bit about the technique. Let me show the technique, and then we'll go from there. So the figure eight technique is literally drawing a figure eight on your body part. It is very good for pain relief. How can something so simple as drawing a figure eight be so powerful? Well, let me tell you, if you know anything about chakras, these vortex wheels of energy systems, what do you do when you go to an energy practitioner who's going to clear your root, for example, your root chakra? They will begin by going counterclockwise, because they're cleaning, they're purifying, they're clearing. And then after they clear and make space, they'll go in a clockwise fashion. And that helps to stabilize, that helps to integrate, and that helps to infuse fresh chi, fresh prana, fresh energy to that part of your body. Take a look at the figure eight, the infinity sign. What do you see? It goes in a counterclockwise and a clockwise fashion. So you're doing both in the same flowing motion. I have a really quick story I want to share. So my father, he's a very traditional, conventional, military man. And when I first got into this work, he was not very thrilled. And he was like, you went to get a university degree to do what now? And I got into this because my mom was very ill. And this was the only thing, figure eights, what I'm going to show you, it was the only thing that could help her sleep the night through without waking up in pain episodes. And one day, 3 years into my studies, he would never let me touch him. He would never let me do anything, which is fine. At least I was helping my mother. He injured his foot. Something fell on his foot and it fractured the bones in his feet. And we had to rush him to the emergency department. And my dad will never tell you when he's in pain. You never know when he's in pain. He won't even cry in front of you. But that day, as I was driving him to the emergency, he was grunting in pain. Like he was in pain. And that got me so worried. His pain threshold is so high. And so when we got there, we're in the parking lot. I went to grab the wheelchair and I said, Dad, can I just help you? We're already here where you want to be. The doctor with the white lab coat, we're here where you want to be. Can I just help you ease the pain a little bit while we wait for the doctor? And he was like, you mean the flowery hippy dippy stuff you do for your mom? I said, whatever you want to call it, Dad, whatever you want to call it. Yes. What I do to help Mom, please let me help you. And so he didn't say anything. So I said, Dad, I'm going to take that as silent consent, silent agreement, because you didn't say no, you didn't refuse me. So then I started drawing figure eights on his foot. It was all purple, black, and swollen. I started drawing figure eights. And I told him, I said, Dad, within the next 60 seconds, because I'm pushing him to the nurse, within the next 60 seconds, your pain will decrease, if not by half, by all. And I just knew it was going to help him, And so we got to the nurse. I don't know how it is in hospitals over there, but the nurse pulled out a happy face chart, and you get a 0 to 10 happy face. 0 is no pain, you're happy. 10 is crying face, you're in huge pain. And so she says, where are you on the pain scale? And my dad looks up at me and says in Chinese, 怎么办不痛了? What do I do? It doesn't hurt anymore. And I said, well, Dad, why don't you tell the nurse what your pain was before we did the figure eights? And he pointed to the 8 crying face. He's like, 8 out of 10, which was huge. His 8 out of 10 is probably my 12 out of 10. And so, because he looked fine, he wasn't in pain, he was cracking jokes with me, telling me stories in the waiting room. They made us wait outside for like an hour. Like, this person's fine. Let's rush other people in that are in a bigger emergency. Then the doctor let us in. He did a bunch of x-rays. He was like, sir, your foot, your bones are fractured. It's quite dangerous, actually, if it lasted longer. Why are you not in excruciating pain right now? What did you take? Like, he's thinking maybe some pain medication. What did you take before coming here? And my dad looked at me and he's like, I took her. The doctor had no idea, and we didn't feel like the need to explain, but the pain went away. So here's the technique. Really good for pain relief and really good for better sleep, right? This is what I did for my mom to help her sleep through the night. So what you're going to do is, I'm going to first show you how to do it on your forehead, your brain, the prefrontal cortex. So imagine this is where you're going to do it. You just take out your hands, bonus points if you just visualize light, like pure sunlight, for example, blessing and infusing your fingertips, your nails, your palm, with that pure light. And you just slowly begin to draw a figure 8 pattern. It can be any way you want it. I like to span the whole upper forehead, even a little bit of my temples. And remember to breathe. And I remember there was a veteran, he fought in the Middle East, and he came to see me. He was suffering from a lot of different things, PTSD, etc. And he's like, Doc, I don't believe in any of this stuff, but I trust you. And so I said, okay. And so I had him lay down, and I started drawing these gentle, and you can touch the skin. You can be a few inches above as well. See what feels the best for you. You can go fast or you can go slow. I recommend finding the pace that feels the absolute best for you in the moment. If your hands get sore, you can shake it out and you can switch. It doesn't matter which hand you do. You're dominant, you're non-dominant. And just remember to breathe. And I'm just going to keep on sharing this story, this case study. So I started drawing these figure 8s on this man, and he wouldn't close his eyes. It was very nerve-wracking. He just kept staring at me as I was drawing these figure 8s, slowly, gently, tenderly on his forehead. He's like, Doc, what are you doing to me? And I was like, how does this feel? And he was like, I just feel lazy. And I was like, that's the first that I've heard someone say that. So can you tell me more? What do you mean you feel lazy? And he's like, I just feel like I'm on this sandy beach and I'm just laying down and the sun is shining and I'm doing nothing. I'm just being lazy. I'm lazing around. And I said, do you mean you feel relaxed? This man was so hyper vigilant for any danger. He forgot what relaxation felt. He called it lazy. So this can really calm down the nervous system so you feel safe again. So really, really simple yet powerful technique. So that's the figure 8.
Thank you, Junia. So I wanted to ask you, I was doing it even around my eyes. Is that fine or just the forehead?
Yes. So Manaz is a magician. I love when people get really creative with this. So you can definitely do it around the eyes. The benefits of doing it around the eyes is you're helping the health of your eyes. I have people who have like teeth pain and they'll do figure 8s on their teeth. I have people who have hearing problems. They'll do figure 8s on their ears. I have people who have joint pain. They'll do it on their joints. You can then start to expand where you want to do it. I even have husband and wives drawing figure 8s between them from the heart, so that they're connecting with flow from the heart, right? So you can get really creative. I had a tutor, she had a very troublesome student who would always get bad grades and make a lot of noise in her tutoring class. And one day she was like, why don't I draw figure 8s on his brain? And then so she says, come here, come here. Teacher wants to draw picture on your brain. And so the kid's like, okay, I don't know what that means. I'm like, okay. And so she's like, give me your head. And so he gave the head and she just started drawing figure eights on his brain. She was like, you're going to get smarter. Everything's going to get better and easier. You're going to do so well in school. You know, teachers just drawing pictures on your head. And then about, I think like a month or two, I think a total of 3 months, he got tutoring from her. His grades became A's. He actually enjoyed some subjects in school. He made friends. And then it came to be, she told me, Miss Junia, now all my kids on my tutoring, draw my head, draw pictures on my head. You know, everyone wants a little bit of that magic. So you can get creative with this.
Oh, nice. Nice. That's very simple and very nice. Is there a particular direction that you start with? Like you mentioned, the 8 is a counterclockwise and a clockwise. So does it matter if you?
That's a really good question. So for now, just to make things simple, go in the direction that feels good for you.
Okay.
Now, when you start to advance, there are specific ways to assess, to test what's the best direction for this body part, for this situation at this time. For now, just tune in to see what feels good. Does this feel good? Oh, no. Does this feel good? No. Maybe vertical feels better? Yes. Whatever feels right, go there. Because remember, it's about being natural. So naturally, organically, what feels good to you.
Got it. So now I'm eagerly waiting for the second one.
Okay, yeah, second one. Okay, yes. So now you got figure eights in your back pocket, right? Easy to do. The second one is the shock point therapy. So you're going to take out your lovely feet and have you ever had a reflexology session where they're like massaging your feet and they go to a certain point and they press it and you're just like, oh my gosh, that's so painful. And then they go, yeah, your liver's not good. And you're like, what does this point have anything to do with my liver? Well, your foot is a hologram of your whole body. It represents your whole body holographically. So every point on the foot represents something. So it just so happens that the bottom of your heels is the shock point, So what you need is, if you don't have someone who can push and massage it deeply, or you can be in half lotus position and push and massage it, you can use stones or crystals or rocks. So, you know, I brought two crystals today. I brought my yellow crystal and my pink crystal, and make sure you have energetic permission to, because you're going to be using it on your feet, right? And so what you're going to do is, if you're sitting or standing, I would start out sitting, because it can get really intense if there's a lot of shock in your system. I would start out sitting, place the stone under your foot, and just begin to roll it around until you find that heel point. And then you're going to press down with pressure. So one way to do it is place your hands on your knees and just pulse and rock the body. Pulse and rock the body, and remember to breathe. And what's going to start to happen is, when you apply pressure to this point directly, it stimulates the opening of it. And I like to call it the uncorking effect. So you just uncorked it, and now all that shock and trauma, even if it's old shock residue, you know, you had a car accident, you received bad news, or you heard someone say something bad about you, whatever it is, your kid, something happened to them, your grandkid, whatever, it will drain out of your system. And what you'll start to feel, it depends on the person and the body. What I tend to hear people report is they feel so at peace again. I've heard people say they feel so clean. They feel cleaner and clearer and lighter. I've heard people say, I feel like I just woke up again. Like, here I am. Because shock and trauma can keep you stuck in the past.
Right.
And so releasing it, you fully come back to the present, to your body again. You own your body again. So very simple technique again. You don't even need to use your arm muscle strength. Just use a stone. use a rock. Maybe start with something that's not too sharp so you don't hurt yourself, and then gradually graduate to standing, placing the 2 stones under your feet, and you can start to rock, your body a little bit. Maybe do it one at a time so you don't lose balance. And that's the shock point therapy. I once had someone come to see me, and their shock point was really buzzing. And so I knew I needed to release some shock. So I asked them, I said, did something shocking happen to you lately or something traumatic? They're like, no, life is good. Life's been pretty smooth. So I'm thinking in my head, then why is their shock point really talking to me? So I said, it doesn't matter. Let me just stimulate it. Let me open it. Let me massage it. Let me pulse it with deep, firm pressure. And I said, maybe it doesn't have to be recently. It could be a few weeks ago, could even be a few months ago, maybe even a few years ago. This one, though, feels pretty recent, maybe like within a month or two. And then they said, oh, yeah, I was driving at night. I was driving up to Seattle, and a deer jumped out of nowhere, and I hit the deer. But there was so many oncoming traffic, I couldn't stop the car to check if the deer was okay. And I just felt awful the rest of the car ride. How could I hurt a deer? Of course, I didn't set out to. It just jumped out of nowhere. I didn't expect it. But my heart was so heavy for the longest time. Is it that? Can that be a shock? And I said, yes, that can be a shock to the system, mentally, emotionally, and physically. There was an impact. So when I started draining it, she started having tears flowing, like things were draining, things were releasing. And, we sent some prayers to the deer, and yeah, she felt better afterwards.
Wow. I would have never imagined anyone would be so shocked with the animal. Yeah. Unless you're an animal lover. But yes, it does have an impact. I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, and deer, they feel so sometimes so human, like their eyes, and they just gentle the soul. You just feel so gentle and soft when you see them. So you don't want to hurt them, So I understood what she was saying.
True.
But look how easy it is to forget shock. She
Mm.
completely forgot about it, after a month, until her foot was like, no, it's still in the system. We got to release the residue.
True. It gets into the system and then you forget all about it and you start living with it.
Yes. I've had some people who've had car accidents. Let's say they were T-boned. What's T-boned? Meaning you're driving this way and another car drove this way. So you made a T. They were T-boned. And upon impact, it depends how their muscles respond. Were their eyes open? Did they grit their teeth? Was their body clenched in a certain way? And then after the accident, they're like, oh, I'm fine. I don't need to go see the doctor's office. But a few days later, maybe even a few weeks later, they start to get weird pains or weird mood swings. There is some residual impact from it. And your diaphragm probably froze and your teeth probably clenched. And so when you go about your day, if you're not tuned into how energy language, you don't know you're being impacted from that accident that happened, at that time. So it's about releasing the muscles, letting the muscles know you're safe. Diaphragm, it's okay for you to fully expand and breathe again. Eyeballs looking in this direction is a safe angle. You can release the trauma of this angle. So, it's just really interesting how the body can imprint like a sponge sometimes.
Well, this is so very interesting.
Yeah. And a lot of us are watching news a lot. I hope some of you are giving yourself a break, news detox. But when you're watching news, especially when you're eating and watching news, guess what? Your body can't really metabolize all that nutritious food you're eating because you're under a state of fight or flight or freeze because of the traumatic news coming through, right? Not telling you don't know things going on in the world, but once in a while, maybe be kind and gentle to yourself and detox a little bit. And let your body be able to process, release the shock, or even better, do the shock points while you're watching the news. Then you release as you're watching.
Yes, with all the things that are going on in the world, yeah, I think that's a very good idea, releasing the shock while you're watching the news.
And I say people with COVID, releasing the shock point is really important. So it doesn't become something longer.
Nice, great, great. All very great points.
So the third technique, great segue. The third technique is about releasing fear, alleviating fear. So what you're going to do is I recommend placing your left hand. So your left hand, I'll mirror you, placing your left hand on your chest. There is a specific point between the ring and the pinky right here, the metacarpals where they converge, those two bones. Place it on either your heart center or your heart organ. And what you're going to do is you're just going to tap this point. Actually, first, think of a fear. Think of something that makes you fearful. And it could be a simple thought of, I'm not safe in my neighborhood, or I don't have enough money to, do this, buy this, or something about a loved one. Just think of something that makes you a little fearful. Change, going out of your home, anything, and put a number of stress and fear on it. 10 being high fear, high intensity of stress. 0 being, I'm actually calm, I'm okay with this. Give yourself that number, and you're just going to begin to tap, sort of 1 per second, 1 tap per second. And if you want to be fancy, you can even do it in the waltz rhythm. So like boom, cha, cha, boom, cha, cha. It's up to you. It's up to you. And I would just take a couple of nice deep breaths as you're gently tapping away the fear. This is a fear point. It helps to relax something called the triple warmer meridian. The triple warmer meridian governs fight, flight, freeze. It governs the nervous system. It holds habits, old ways of thinking and doing something, old ways of, so just sort of tapping it to release its grip on you, giving it a calm sanctuary again. It's safe to be here in the now. I am okay. All is well. It is safe to feel safe again. I give myself permission to be okay. Crisis is over. And just breathe as you're tapping it. How deep is the pressure? It's up to you. You can do little tiny dewdrops and raindrops. You can do a little bit of a heavier percussion. I would just say what feels best to you. You can rest your elbows on something. And I would like you to tap until you feel a shift. How do you know when a shift occurs? Like for me, you just saw me take a natural deep breath. So a deep breath, a natural deep sigh, a swallow, a cough, a yawn. Some people, they pass gas as a shift. So when you feel a natural shift occur, that's when you know the nervous system has picked up on this pulsing message. And what's so great about it is it doesn't feel unfamiliar. It's not something alien to the body, to the system, because it pulses like the heartbeat. Maybe not at the same rhythm, but it's the same sort of idea that you're pulsing and you're tapping at the same similar rhythm. So your body knows what is going on. And the point you're utilizing helps to release and calm and alleviate fear. And so after you tap for about a minute or two and you have that natural shift, go ahead and relax for a little bit and check in with that fear thought that you brought up originally. Where are you now on a scale of 0 to 10? Did it shift a little bit by a number or 2 or more? If you still have fear, that's okay. Switch hands and do it on the other side, because we have yin and we have yang. So there's different sides of the body that needs extra, the wholeness effect. If you did that one hand and everything cleared, congratulations. This is your technique. It was very, very powerful for you. I have a colleague. She was having an awful day, and something awful happened. I think like someone had cut her off in traffic. I forgot what happened. And I was like, do this right now. Just tell me what happened, vent, and do this at the same time. So we were venting and we were tapping. And after maybe 5 minutes, so she needed more than 1 or 2 minutes. After maybe 5, she's just like, oh gosh, that hot flash is gone. I feel calmer. I do feel better. Thank you so much, Junia. And then a few weeks later, she calls me. She's like, you won't believe what happened. I said, what? I love when people start with that. You won't believe what happened. I was like, what? Tell me. And she said, my little one, like 4 or 5 years old, I guess she had walked in on us in the kitchen and overheard what we were doing because a few weeks ago she got into a huge fight with her big sister and she stomped to the living room and she sat down on the couch and she was just tapping. And then her mom went over, she's like, what you doing there, little one? And she's like, nobody talk to me. I'm tapping my fear point. And you can even share this with little ones. They pick up so quickly. And what a technique. She can start to share it in the playground. Yo, you are scared about something? Do this. You're scared to sleep at night? The night monsters? Okay, do this. Like, it's very universal. You could share this. I just loved how she shared that. It was so sweet.
That's so nice. In fact, when you asked us to do the fear point tapping, I was thinking about a fear that I have since years, and it was on a scale of 0 to 10, it was 9, and then after tapping, it became 5.
Oh,
So,
wow. So this is a really good technique for you. And when you have more time at home, I would switch hands and do the other one. And bring the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth and breathe through it.
Right. So thank you so much, Junia, for all of those techniques, the figure eight, the shock points, the fear point tapping. In fact, I'm just thinking, okay, I have knee pain, let me do the figure eights. If I have back pain, let me do the figure eights. It's so very simple and so useful. And wow, that means I'll be having less of painkillers. So amazing, awesome tips. And thank you so much, Junia, for giving us the interview and sharing the tips with us. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for creating this channel for everybody. Thank you.
Most welcome. And
oh, yes.
Cheers to wellness.
Cheers to wellness.